Good morning, beautiful people. Today we are going to cover all the newses of polity which came into the month of April 2023. And let's start with the first news that is talking about the election freebies. What is election freebies and why it is in news? Firstly, recently the 15th Finance Commission chairperson raised concern over growing political election freebies with the need to contemplate adopting the concept of subnational bankruptcies. Now here one word which is asked or which is said is subnational bankruptcies. What is subnational bankruptcy? When we talk about subnational bankruptcy, that means that it is also known as subnational insolvency as well as sometimes. It is referring to the fiscal crisis where the state local government loses market access or faces rising financial costs that undermine its capacity to deliver essential services. So what is work need to do, and any work that is done should be done by the state, that is to deliver the freebies. Is it the work of the state? No, it is not. The work of any state or any political party or any government is that it provides the essential services which its people, the nation's people, believe that they are going, when they are choosing their representative, they will going to do, and with that belief system they are providing or they are paying the taxes which government are asking to them. And then when they are using these things on the election freebies, that means that they are deceiving the people who are voting for themselves and who are paying tax as well. And this is leading to the subnational bankruptcy. Although it is not that bad when we are hearing the word election freebies, it is not that bad. Somehow it is providing a temporary solution but not a full or complete solution. Now when we look at back to some last few years, due to various reasons or combination of them, some states are moving at risk of subnational bankruptcies, such as one is we talk about is willful unwillingness. All right, so what is willful unwillingness? This is when unwillingness from the state to make tough budgetary choices, erosion of autonomous fiscal space due to GST, we can see at that point, loss of revenue due to COVID-19 and economic shutdown. So these are some categories. That is why some states are going to the level of subnational bankruptcies. All right, and what is the repercussion? If it is not controlled, that it can lead to very high taxes on the people, woefully inadequate services from state, and at a worst threat to the national unity, as people and the state, when they are demanding for themselves and they will demand some adequate amount from the center, that means if center or the union government will not be able to provide this amount due to maybe any reasons, then this state will demand or threat to the national unity somehow. All right, they will take loans, they will raise the loans, and this will unfortunately and ultimately leading to a worsen case scenario. Now let's talk about the election freebies. What are they? Basically, election freebies are the offering or distribution of irrational freebies. Now this is not rational, this is very important to note here, that is irrational freebies from political parties itself. As a part of election promise, some political head or the leader or the face of that party will tell that we are going to provide you with the free electricity, free water, free riders, or loans waiver. We will waive your loans, whatever forms loans are here mostly discussed in this category, and then they will provide you some allowances or laptop, etc. So these are the some examples, and some of these freebies help them to meet basic need of people. This is a good point. Over here there is no problem till yet, but now and uplift they also uplift their living standard. But the issue starts when we talking about that these are the temporarily address other issues, as well as there is no issue addressal about the unemployment, rising cost of living, economic inequalities. That is a problem as well, right? But you are not addressing the root of the problem. Rather you are saying that, oh, take this medicine, apply on the surface of it, but the problem is itself in the root. If there will be unemployment, no one will going to need any allowances. If there will be no rising cost of living, that means the person can ride themselves and they do not need any free rides. So the problem is in itself is the root, but the solution they are giving is on the surface level. So that is the question and that is the problem here. Let's move forward. Now if we talk about that it goes against the root of free and fair election, is it incorrect to say or correct to say? Just tell me one. Whenever I just discussed right now, whatever I discuss, is this correct to say that is yes, it is somehow it is against the root of free and fair election, which our constituent assembly, our constitution fathers who are making our constitution said that there should be a free and fair election in the democracy, which is the basic requirement for the democracy. That's why it gives some rise to several issues. Now let's move forward and see what are the issues we are talking right now. So issues with freebies, there are some negative impact of freebies. What are they? Let's see. First, it is here is the economic issue. Now what is economic issue? If we talk about, basically freebies are a huge strain on the state exchequer, affecting the fiscal balance. So what it is doing, it is first of all affecting fiscal balance, and secondly it is also somehow affecting macroeconomic stability of the country. If not checked, it can lead to greater risk, including state bankruptcy due to high debt to GDP ratio. This is very important concept here, debt to GDP. What is debt to GDP ratio? I will give you some here example also. So what is debt to GDP? That means whatever amount of GDP you have, maybe then in comparison of that, what are the debt data, right? So this is what debt to GDP ratio. And if we take an example of the Punjab, a very rich state of the India, but still Punjab 2022 and 23 data tells that almost 53.3% is debt to the compared to the GDP, and debt to GDP ratio is 53.3%. It's a very high in amount, because it's half of your GDP is on you have debt, right? Now if we talk about why this is so much burden, this happened because of the high subsidy burden. All right, subsidy burdens. Even in 2024 general election, Prime Minister also increased the subsidy about the food Anna Yojana it's talking about. Then that means it is also going to increase the high subsidy burden on the union as well. We can see that. And secondly, if we compare this Punjab data also, there are some states like Telangana has committed almost 35% of revenue received, almost 60% of states own tax revenue to finance populist schemes which are centered around freebies. We will know that Telangana is a state where regional parties were ruling till today, and these regional parties were highly doing some populist schemes like ladli marriage or shadi, something like that, and these are the schemes which are somehow burdening to the state government. All right, now other economic issue we talk about, there is a risk of national level bankruptcy, already discussed. Secondly is distorted expenditure priorities, that is the issue again. Third is suboptimal infrastructure development. If you are going to spend much of the amount of the taxes or much of the amount which is right now is in the state consolidated fund of India, that means you do not have left with the amount for the development or infrastructure projects. That's a big issue, right? You are giving most of the amount in the subsidies, you want your voting banks as use them as a voting bank, so there is a problem. Now next is the lower manufacturing quality and competitiveness. Market and business deregulation will be there, that is lowering tax regulation, etc. Then there will be damaging macroeconomic stability and risk of subnatural bankruptcy, that is also an issue here. Second, we have some issues about the polity. Now what are the political issue? It goes against Article 14 by distorting the level playing field among political parties. What is the Article 14? Article 14 in Indian Constitution talk about equality before law. All right, now what is equality before law? That means we are going to take everyone as equal. All right, in the eyes of the state, every person is equal. But here we can see this is very important, because this is fundamental right, this is basic structure of constitution. This is basic structure of constitution. Who have given basic structure? Keshwanandi Bharati case 1973. So they said, Supreme Court already said that it's a basic structure and you cannot change it, but still it goes against it, because this is distorting the level playing field among political party, favoring the party in power over others. We already can see this. It also unduly influence voters, leading to short-sightedness in their judgment. How? When voters are seeing that all right, they are providing us with free electricity, that means they are not seeing this, that all right, they are giving you some short term benefits, maybe some right exceptions in your fare, all right, fare exceptions like bus amount or fare was about 50 rupees, but you should give only 10 rupees. So that is some exceptions here, but this is very short term exceptions. This is not long term solution of your living standard. So they are kind of giving this, and we already know that in constitution DPSP, this is initiative, this is kind of a mandatory to the state, that they give some our citizens scientific temper, all right, because we are a country which is a transforming country. We are transforming to the modernity, and when we talk about the modernity, that doesn't mean that we have short-sightedness, that doesn't lead us to our aim. So this is also an issue, that is why it's a political issue. Now next we have is socio-psychological issues. What are socio-psychological issues here? Firstly, here is the distorted economic decisions, lack equity and fairness, leading to various socio-psychological issues such as reduced effort or laziness, threat to social cohesion by creating artificial divides between have and have nots of the associated freebies. Example, how? So for example, in Rajasthan, 56% of tax and non-tax revenue are spent on pension and salaries. We are talking about Rajasthan right now. It's far more in some other states. The state recent decision to revive the old pension scheme will further lead to greater social inequality, right? Because you are 56% of the tax, you are spending that on the pension, and if you go around and back to the old pension scheme, which is only about for the election, so that the party can win the elections, then it will lead what is going to lead? It will again going to lead the inequality into the people, right? Social inequality. Now we have some other issues regarding environment. What are these? These are freebies promote unsustainable practice by pushing government and people away from the environmentally sustainable practice. Example, if we talk about free electricity, example here is the free electricity. See, free electricity reduce the initiative for the farmers. When farmers are using this free electricity, they knew that the electricity, they don't have to pay any amount of here what's the sale or price for this. That means they are going to use it more, right? They are not using it in a sustainable somehow manner, and this free electricity reduce initiative for farmers and domestic household to install solar panel as well. Why? Because their electricity is free. Why would they spend some amount 2 lakh rupees on the solar panel, right? This is also a kind of problematic thing for the environment. And again, more efficient public transport system is not also acceptable by them. So if we talk about what has been done by the checking or steps taken by the Election Commission of India, in India, basically Election Commission is the chief body to organize all the elections in the country, all right? And we have 2 election commission. First is Central Election Commission, which will handle the election of the union government and all the state government, all right? All the state elections which are happening, this will handled by this central. Second, we have State Election Commission. Now this State Election Commission is not going to handle any election of the state, right? This is not going to handle legislature basically, not going to handle, but this is going to handle the elections of the municipalities and panchayats. So these are the works which are done by the State Election Commission. So these are the 4 kind of things which are handled by the different 2 election commissions, and the chief election commission body of the center is Central Election Commission, right? So if we see that what has been done or what the steps right now taken by the Election Commission of India. So in India, conducted free and fair election is responsibility of ECI. We already see that. Now, in Subramaniam Balaji versus State of Tamil Nadu 2013, Supreme Court observed the lack of provision and directed ECI to frame guidelines to check freebies. So, who directed? Supreme Court directed. In which case he directed? It was directed by the Subramaniam Balaji versus State of Tamil Nadu. It was directed in that. All right. So, to ensure electoral process integrity in 2016, guidelines to check freebies were included under Part 5 of the Model Code of Conduct (MCC). What we are talking about here is MCC Model Code of Conduct, which is given by the Election Commission of India. And Election Commission has responsibility that every candidate who are participating or who is participating in the elections as a candidate from any electoral party in India or state, they should actually eventually somehow to be into some kind of model code or in moral, some they have some repercussions of if they are going to break that codes, and that is the guidelines provided by the election commissioner. If they break any of the guidelines which are provided by ECI, that means they can be disqualified. All right, they are not sub judice into this matter, and this cannot be go to the any Supreme Court. They can be in kind of, here the election commission is quasi judicial because it can disqualify that candidate before. All right, and now let's move forward to the next thing. And what are other things that are done by ECI? That is allowing welfare measures as part of the directive principle of state policy. That is very good. Under this guideline, political parties should promise only what they can fulfill in order to gain electoral trust on feasible promise. For example, reflecting the rationale behind the promise, why they are doing any problem, then reflect that. All right. Secondly, it is the clarify the ways and means to meet the expense, but it can't regulate policies and decision of parties due to lack of enabling laws to exercise the power to deregister a political party. Now, what can be the solution? We already saw there were some issues, and now it's time for the solutions. That what can be the things which can help us, or what are the way forward things? So there are almost 5 we can see. No, it is here 4, and let's see one by one. So first one, solution to election freebies start with recognition of delicate interplay between politics and economics. That is very important, and for that some steps can be taken, optimize, follow effort to counter this issue. How? Firstly is the empowering election commission. Why we are giving this statement? All right, see, basically empowering election commission to enforce MCC. Why? Enforce Model Code Conduct, MCC, and by giving it a legal status. We already know that MCC is not a legal status. Secondly, we also know that Election Commission is a constitutional body. It is not made by any statutory law. So it's there are different type of laws. Some are constitutional laws, some are the legal laws, and this itself has no legal status. That is why the power to, and also we do not have any power to deregister any political parties if they violate MCC guidelines. So here what is saying, or what are the solution given are that it should be MCC should be given as a legal status, and also power to deregister political parties if they violate any MCC guideline. And who is this solution was provided by? This solution was provided by the Committee on Electoral Reforms, Government of India itself. This was a committee which is into the Parliament itself, Government of India, and they given that this should be done in this type of situation. Secondly, what can be done? That is differentiating between freebies. Basically, how can one differentiate? First is differentiation should be the priority to DPSP. That is, this promise are done for the DPSP, that is in part 5 of the Constitution from Article 35 to 51. All right, this is the DPSP part, and we can differentiate that okay, these are given to priority to the DPSP based on merit codes such as PDS system, that is a public distribution system, that other is education. Whatever DPSPs are talking about, that should be differentiate on that basis, health, etc., for greater prosperity. Now third is here is financial budgeting or freebies, between subsidies and freebies with awareness programs to educate people and promote demand-based intervention, because people should be also aware what is good for them in the long term, right? We already see this in the issues that this is not the things. People should not be so short-minded and short-sighted that they can be influenced by anything which a candidate is saying to them. They should be educated that what is good for them in the long term and what is good as a human being, what is moral as a human being. It's not moral that some people is giving you some kind of intervention, they are doing some intervention in your life, they are giving you anything. Like there is a very good quote I remember right now, that if you give a man a fish, you will feed him for a day, but if you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime, right? This eventually very correctly we can apply it over here. Fourth is achieve and increase or more inclusivity and higher economic growth rate to meet people's aspiration of the jobs, better living standard, lesser inequalities, etc., to reduce temptation toward freebies. That is, again we are talking that how people get tempted. They do not think that okay, overcoming it's not short-sighted. Everyone have that much understanding, but this temptation toward these things is due to inequalities, due to not having a job, due to not having a better living conditions and better living standards. That is the issue only here. So we need to do this, we need to achieve more inclusivity in higher economic growth rate. Now next we can see that outcome oriented government scheme can help in this through better policy reach and expenditure efficiency. At the last, in conclusion, use of public money without proper responsibilities carry other risk as well as such a like tax avoidance from the taxpayer, because they will see that eventually my money, which is hard earned money, is going for the election, some candidate benefit, and they are providing, they are not giving the long term solution or any solution which is beneficial for the we can say society. And that why they will think, no, I do not want to pay any tax. This is a tax avoidance system, because this is not when someone is providing their hard earned money, that means that they want, all right, we have faith in the government, they are going to do good with the whichever I do not have time to perform, right? They are going that for the society, for which I cannot do because I do not have time. And when this thing of there is not getting completed, that means somehow there can be an issues with the faith of these taxpayers. Therefore, if not checked, it can lead to a culture of competitive freebie politics, domino effect, which is also known as competitive, that all right, we are giving you 5 rupees electricity free or subsidy. Second political party ke, oh, they are giving you 5 rupees, we are going to give you 10 rupees. So this is domino effect. Then the other came, oh no, they are giving you, we are going you to the free, in the free, all electricity you can have it to use it to the free. That is domino effect. So at every level you can see this, creating threat to microeconomic stability and integrity to the nation. Let's move forward. Next topic is urban local bodies, ULBs. Wild news because recently Delhi Municipal Corporation Amendment Act 2020 was enacted and seeks to reunify the 3 municipal corporation of Delhi, that is MCD. So what are the key provisions of the MCD Act 2022? Basically, first is it empowers central government to decide various matters like building regulations and sanctionings of consolidation of loans by corporation, etc. Secondly, total number of seats in the new corporation should not be more than 250. It allows the center to appoint a special officer to exercise powers of the corporation until the first meeting of unified MCD take places. Fourth, it can omit the provision for directors of the local bodies. Fifth, establish an e-governance system for citizens. E-governance system for the citizens better, we can say that better for their good, and accountability we can also see in this, and anytime anywhere basic for better transparent administration can also be seen in this. Next and last, MCD commissioner has been made accountable only to the center, and this is the basic and issue somehow which was noted by the Delhi government itself. Now see what's about more in news about this. Delhi Municipal Corporation Amendment Act 2022 amends the Delhi Municipal Corporation Act 1957 to effectively undo the earlier 2011 amendments to this act, by which erstwhile MCD was trifurcated into separate municipal corporation of North, South and East Delhi. So what is done? See, basically in 2011 there was amendment in 1957 Act of Delhi Municipal Party. That means it bifurcated the Delhi Municipal Corporation into 3 parts. Delhi Municipal Corporation DMC into 3 parts. One was North, second one was South, and third was your East Delhi. So now this new act, which is of Act of 2022, it is again making all of them into DMC. Alright, they are again not separated, and they are letting it again make or kind of introduce it into one part. Second, the split up was first proposed in 1987. Balakrishna Committee report constituted by the Ministry of Home Affairs. We already know that all municipalities are under the Home Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs. That is one thing which should be known by everyone who is preparing for the UPSC. Now, which was so this report, which was Balakrishna Committee report constituted by the Ministry of Home Affairs, which was blustered in 2001, Virendra Prakash Committee report. Key provisions we already discussed here. Need for law, that is a very important thing, that why we need any law for this and making this. Firstly, create compact municipalities. See, to create any compact municipalities at various centers in Delhi in the interest of providing more efficient civil service to the public. Earlier trifurcation was uneven in terms of territorial division, revenue generating potential. That is why it's a compact municipalities in various centers. Secondly, there was a huge gap in resources. See, basically there was huge gap in the resources available to the three corporation compared to their obligation. Now this, what is the huge gap resources? That you have three division, I'll provide you 100 of crore rupees and something like that, and okay, second South Delhi, I'll provide you some 500. So this is huge gap, right? So where is 100 crore and where is this? Well, amount is not very prominent, or I'm saying that is a very accurate data. It's just for the example, all right, so that we can understand that how it is huge gap of us telling. Now third problem is or we can see why we need this to tackle is the increasing the financial difficulties. This symbol is for the increasing, always remember that, and increasing the finance difficulties of the three municipal corporation in Delhi. Let's see what is municipal corporation itself. Basically, municipal corporations are urban local governments in India which work for the development of any metropolitan city with a population of more than 1 million. So any city which has population more than 10 lakhs of people, that means they will be provided with a municipal corporation, MC. Okay, and it is also called as Mahanagarpalika. In Hindi you can call it Nagarpalika, Nagar Nigam, City Corporation, etc. They are also known by these names. Now the first municipal corporation was set up in Madras in 1688. This is very important. 1688, who was the person who is going to establish this corporation? Normal, it is done by Britishers. Okay, 1688 we are talking about this time framework. And again we already know that the first governor cities which were held into the constituencies of the governor generals, and three governors were first one was the Madras, second here we can see Kolkata, and third we are well aware about the Bombay. Okay, Bombay, it is Bombay. Now firstly the municipal corporation came into the Madras, secondly it came in the Calcutta in 1726, and third it came into the again Bombay also in 1726. Their sources of revenue include property tax, water tax, professional tax, drainage tax, etc., and some fixed aid from the state government. This is, we are talking about the current. See, this also seen in the previous PYQ prelims question, that they asked which are the sources of the revenue. And when we are talking about the sources of the revenue of the municipals and panchayats, eventually we should be aware that there can be a professional tax as well, right? Profession tax, and that is very important to know because this was asked in the PYQ. And so let's move forward. The members of municipal corporation are directly elected by the peoples and called councillors. Election to the municipal corporation are conducted under the guidance, direction, superintendence and control of State Election Commission, already discussed, and already I hope everyone is understand that. Next, move forward. Municipal corporations are established in states by act of the concurrent states legislature and in union territories by the act of Parliament of India. Firstly, if we talk about the Lord Ripon 1880 to 1884, and the Viceroy of India introduced election in the municipal corporation known as, and that is why this Lord Ripon is known as father of local government. and who also one should known by the father name, that one father also of India want the local government and local bodies in India, and it was also given in our DPSP. And after giving that, the state made this legislature or law in 73rd and 74th Amendment Act of 1973, all right, 2003 actually, and they made these panchayats and these municipalities to work here. This was the second father who wanted this, was the Gandhi ji. Okay, be aware that. All right, next is to provide for a common framework and strengthening urban local bodies, ULPs, functioning as effective units of self-government. 74th Amendment Act 1992 was inserted Part 9A. Firstly, there were originally Part 9 was in the Constitution, and now it is not in the Constitution, that you should be aware about. Currently we have total, if we talk about the total parts, we have total 25 parts in Constitution, and we have 12 schedule in Constitution currently. In originally it was almost 12 parts maybe, or 8 schedule, it was something like that. And now it added Part 9A of the Constitution, and also talk about the administration of municipalities and the Nagarpalika. So this was some static things which we need to know. When is come to the issues, when we are talking about the these things, that all right, there are some issues associated with the urban local bodies, that is true, but why they are unaddressed even after they have been identified year after year, so many years these are into the act after this 74th Amendment Act 1992, and they are functioning after that, and there are some issues we already know, but why they are still prevalent, that is the issue, right? So see, firstly, why we are not able to address all issues and evacuate them or eliminate them is because there are shortage of the funds. See, there is an acute scarcity of the funds among ULBs as tax collection are extremely low. Further, SFCs yani ki State Finance Commission are not constituted regularly, and its suggestions are not implemented, again not binding. So first thing is here we can see storage of funds. Second, here is unplanned urbanization. How? The municipal services have failed to cope with the increasing needs of population both qualitatively and quantitatively, leading to haphazard growth of cities as seen in Delhi NCR region. Okay. Third, here is excessive state control. How? That is also we need to understand. Functions have not been developed, and see, basically a mayor's office have been ceremonial position with the lack of concurrent power. We already talked about 73rd and the 74th Amendment Act, which is giving us 73rd Amendment giving his PRI, Panchayati Raj Institution, and 74th is talking about municipality corporation. When we are saying ki all right, but now what is the issue? Why there are excessive state control? Because there are some framework or some guidelines which are already given in the Constitution, and before that never we had any panchayat or municipals in any state before 74th Amendment or 1992. We usually had, some states had, but this amendment make it is important in all over India to constituent a municipal party and or a panchayat, all right, and they give some framework over that. But now they given the much power in the state list, they left it to the state that they can make their state finance commission, which will tell them that how much money should go to the panchayat, how much money should go to the municipals, how much money should left to the legislature, all right. This is also this is also a work of the finance commission at center level, because now at center level finance commission tell that how much collection of the GST or tax should be divided between the states and union. All right, so this is the work of the finance commission at central level, and this is the state and SCFC's work at the state level. But this, because parliament has left many powers to the state, so they now use this excessive state control, and they are not providing the functions very accurately to the mayor office, and they made them as a ceremonial position. They kind of not giving the real power to that position, and that is the issue that emerges as the issue. Next issue is municipality of the multiplicity of the agencies. What is talking about? Overlap in jurisdiction of Department of Health and Family Welfare, DOHFHW, that is Health and Department of Health, Family and Welfare. This. Okay, and the city town municipal corporation lead to a complex service delivery, reduce access for the most vulnerable population. For instance, in Bengaluru there is a mix of primary health centers, PHEs operated by the Bharut Bengaluru Mahanagar Palika, BBMP, as well as the state DOHFW. Now, lack of human resources, untrained manpower, storage of qualified technical staff, managerial supervision has led to failure in delivery of the public services. And the last one is irregular elections. When we're talking about the irregular elections, we are already aware about this thing, and that is why there are question again and again arising that why election are not held regularly. This thing is actually defeating the goal of decentralized governance. We are talking why we are making this 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment, because we want to decentralize the government, because centralization of a government or centralization of power leads to authoritarianism. Okay, authoritarianism, it's lead to that, and we do not want that, because we choose our country as a federal polity. So we are giving power to the state, we are giving power to the union, and even going beyond that, we are giving power to the local bodies, panchayat, PRIs and ULBs. And this is what is the invention of India. No other country is the world having right now any such kind of decentralization in their polity. But when Gandhiji wanted that, when he was saying that there can be self-sufficiency and the local body should be the primary bodies to constituent or to handle their work at very root level, then at that time this purpose of decentralization somehow get questioned when there is no regular election are performed, because this was hands in the state, this power is in hands of the state, and that is why we need to came with the amendment, because state were not doing it properly, right, appropriately. That was not done by the state. That is why it was the duty of the state legislature, parliament, it was duty on the state legislation. That is why parliament came with a new law. All right, I guess everything is clear right now. For instance, if we take example, Tamil Nadu elections for ULB is held after 10 years. It almost took 10 years of the time where there was no elections. Now that's very unfortunate to talk even about that. Let's move forward and see what can be done in the developing sense and what are way forward things we have. First is developing functions. What are the developing functions? Basically, effective devolution of functions are laid by the 74th Amendment Act 1992 and giving power and autonomy to the municipalities. Mayor's office is the need of the hour. All right, mayor's office is giving power to him is the need of the hour. Second is building human resource capacity to deliver the functions effectively and these city governments need human resources with adequate skills and capabilities. State need to follow the example of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and create a specialized municipal cadre for effective administration. They can make something like Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, right? This can be done. Third, if we talk about is increasing accountability. To ensure accountability of the election representatives, robust by law outline the working of the corporations and produce rules need to be enacted. Additionally, citizen of the ward should have the autonomy to remove the person from the post. There should be this administration should be done by themselves only. Next, we have making cities financially independent, and that is the most important when we are talking about this fourth, making cities financially independent. See, to increase their revenue, city government should expand coverage and increase efficiency in tax collection along with transferring the power and authority to introduce new taxes and revise tax rates. Basically, Mumbai is the only example of a city where sanctioning power have been given to ward committee, and that is a huge city, that is a metropolitan city, and that is why we can say something right there. But this should be implement all over the municipal parties in India. Next, we have active citizen participation. Here we are reached to the fifth point. And for transparency and accountability in the governance process, there need to be active citizen participation, particularly in areas such as budget making and urban planning. Then we have their citizen grievance redressal mechanism. The complaints redressal mechanism should be centralized for all the people service delivered in the city, irrespective of whether they are delivered by a city, state or central agency. Next we have regular election, and this election or the election of ULBs shall be completed before the expiry of their duration. In case of dissolution or somehow if the body is dissolved, then election shall be held within 6 months from that date. That is already in 73rd amendment. That means it's a constitution written in the constitution. If there is the time is less than 6 months and this municipal this committee already got dissolved, then there is no need for any election, because this should be, if there is a time limit of more than 6 months, then you can have as soon as the elections within the 6 month time framework, and the new constituted body will only going to rule till the leftover period. They are not going to rule for this 5 year consequently, no, continuously they are not going. If the time limit for example, see, basically we make a municipal corporation that was made in 2023, and due to some reason it dissolved in 2025, but now we make after 6 months in 2025 January it was dissolved, and somehow in August we made election and new body, then it will only work for the 2028, not it is going for the 2022. No, this is only going to work for the remaining period which the earlier it had. All right, this is same for the panchayat also. So this is somehow it is going to work. And now the biggest problem was obviously election. There was irregularities in the election, so yeah, there should be elections shall be completed before the expiry of their duration, and we already understand that. So we have some other things like what are the steps taken by the government to strengthen ULBs. For example, World Bank Assisted Capability Building for Urban Development Project, CBUD. This is the project given by the World Bank, Capacity Building Assisted for Urban Development. It proposes a central scheme to enhance capacity building and strengthening of the ULBs to implement urban reforms with World Bank credit. Second, we have is peer experience and reflective learning, PEARL program. The PEARL, when we are talking about the PEARL program, it can come in the prelims. So it should be known that it is for the foster cross learning among cities and institutions. Third is a rapid training program, RTP, to prioritize slow performing cities that have lagged behind in accusing Januram, that is Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewable Mission, funds on the three prioritized modules. First is governance and reforms. All right, governance and reform. Second, in this Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewable Reform is supervision. There should be supervision, obviously. And third here is this project management and implementation. Basically project and policies are made at a state level, but they need to implement it at the grassroots level, and that is why we are making these things, so that they can be implemented in a better manner. Next, move forward. Next we have is localization of sustainable development goal, SDGs. How? Basically why it is in news, because the Ministry of Panchayati Raj has signed a joint statement of understanding on localization of sustainable development goals with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Who has signed? Ministry of Panchayati Raj, MOPR, with United Nations Development Program. Okay, why? So they can localize the sustainable development goals. If we talk about the sustainable development goals and their localization, then we have to know this, that sustainable development goal is a set of 17 sustainable development goals. First is to end poverty, then we have fight inequalities, injustices there, tackle climate change by 2030. These are some sustainable development goals which were adopted by the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit in 2015. All right, this also happened. After this we also came with the framework of climate change, that we will going to do 25% of the less emission if it can be done, and we are provided some that we are going to more do electric vehicles use in our country, and that already have been achieved by the India, which were taken in the Paris climate. All right, this was in also in sustainable development goal context, so that is why I told that. Now, localization of sustainable development goal is a process taking into account subnational context in the achievement of SDGs. This includes the use of sustainable development these goals to provide a framework for local development policies. Secondly, identify how bottom-up action from local and regional government can support SDGs achievement. What are the significance of the SDGs localization? The success on SDGs achievement depends on the implementation at the all territorial level, right? That is a very valid thing. To do so, what we need to do? We need to interpret the goals and target with the local context, that is making the global goals in a reality in urban and rural areas. How? I already told that how these ULBs and this Panchayati Raj system is a very unique for Indian and very unique for intervention kind of for the India, and inventioning, and we are adapting it for our the local rule or local bodies. It's a role and responsibility which get associated with it, right? So that is why these are the significance, that it can make the reality, it can convert the thinking into reality, because what we think, what we target, what we aim in 2015, we aim to somehow sustain these goals till 2030. We are going to full that, and that was our aim. But to converting it into the reality, we need very local representation in it, and we need very local level effort on that. So this is what it is, converting global aims into the local reality. Now, monitor their implementation at subnational level. That is also very important, because the greater the monitoration and the greater the implementation, this is very informative, or we can say that yes, this is very true to some level. Now, sustainable development goals localization helps in this by localizing the development based on shared learning and effective partnership for improved state capabilities, localized solutions, promotion of cooperatives, and competitive federalism with various benefits. What is competitive federalism? Competitive federalism is where one state is competing with another state. It's never between a union and state. No, it is not. It's a vertical relation between state and state. When both are competing, I am the good, I am the most good, and I am the most good, somehow this is competitive federalism seems as. And when this is promoting, then that means there would be some benefit on this. For example, this state scored 90 marks out of 100 when monitoring, and the goals were given to this, and they are giving some additional benefits because they are achieving good marks. And when the other state is getting only 80 marks, they are given some less initiative or some less profit with that. So this will increase competitive federalism, which will eventually benefit to all. Now, what are the importance for localization of SGDs or in Panchayati Raj institution on urban basically bodies? Mostly it is with Panchayati Raj institution, so that is why we are focusing more on that. See, nearly, if we talk about it, nearly 65% of Indian population living in rural areas, the role of PRIs or rural local bodies have become a critical component of local self-governance. They provide last mile connectivity and help the government in implementing a number of socio-sector schemes in areas of drinking water, sanitation, housing. These are the things. Alright, so we know that major compact on major portion of our population is residing in the panchayats, or we can say the territory of the villages. So they are the most important person who are related with that, or we can say that they are the major part which can make it this eventually thinking into the aim or into the reality, convert it into the reality with their understanding, with their awareness, or it can be done only by the larger portion of the population. So sure. Next is the localization of SDGs at pre-level will help in achieving SDGs by keeping the local priorities on the top. When we are talking about the local priorities on the top, that means that this is a bottom to top approach. We are working from bottom to top, and that is very important to done. right? Because eventually when we are talking about decentralization of our polity, then we are saying that bottom the level on the work on grassroots level is very important. So this is going to help us in that way as well. And this will again, this is the agenda: active involvement in sustainable development goal itself. More than that, it will success its success will depend on our ability to create awareness on sustainable development goals in panchayat raj institutions and empowerment of rural local bodies by overcoming their what first is limitations due to the limited devolution of the funds functionaries from various states, and secondly ability to take into account the diversity of India, especially tribes. When we see that there are some tribal areas, when we are talking about the constituent assembly or constitution, fifth schedule, which will include your four states: Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Manipur. And then we have here sixth schedule. See, basically these four kind of jo state whichever I told right now, they are totally or fully tribal states. But there are sixth schedule in our constitution which talks about the state which has also tribes into it, but they are not fully tribal states, and there are around 12 states in this. 10 states are eventually part of the tribal areas, and I'm not going to name all the states here, but they have tribes in specific areas, for example in a district of their, and in a part of their district, so that they have tribes. And there in tribal areas there are PISA Act. All right, PISA Act of 2003. This PISA Act is this panchayat somehow securing the panchayat or extend the panchayat extension is for the tribal area only, because they cannot function like normal functionaries, like normal panchayats. They have very different culture, they have very different bases or beliefs of theirs, and that is why they are given some, eventually we can say that they are given some extension or some we can say that freedom to explore their panchayati raj institution into their way, but they have been providing that. And that is why these tribes, who are among the most deprived section with almost 90% living in rural areas, this is also somehow limit this ability to create awareness. This is somehow limiting, and but we need to overcome this. We need to empower the rural local bodies. We need to go there, aware them. Let's move forward and talk about what are the significances. And we already saw this: implementation, localization, improved state capacities. All right, next we have are the challenges. When we are talking first about the challenges, the first is with less than a decade left to achieve sustainability, localization of sustainable development goals is vital to accelerate the implementation of the sustainable development goals. To do so, a number of challenges need to be addressed, such as first one is local translation and adaptation. India is a diverse country with hundreds of languages, socio-cultural practices, etc. So the first challenge is to accommodate this difference with sustainable development goals localization. Second is infrastructure challenge. How? See, SDGs localization demands system-wide alignment for data collection. All right, then after that it needs implementation and monitoring. So we need to overcome challenging related to availability of the local data and capacities to perform local monitoring. Third is government challenge. How? Again, the prevalence of the top-down approach and apathy from the state and bureaucracy toward local bodies create functional and coordination issues, vertical and horizontal, among all stakeholders. The lack of political will, here if we talk about the political will and the support for local governments also adds in it. So this is the government challenge somehow. And the fourth one is developing responsibility without resources. See, basically availability of the funds have remained a concern for local bodies since their formation. Localized sustainable development goal will add more responsibilities with limited fund transfer and local resource mobilization to reduce the reduced revenue of the state since COVID-19 are another setback to it, that is very prominent part. Fifth one is awareness on SDGs, and this is limited awareness of the SDGs at the subnational level is another challenge towards successful SDGs localization. Now, what are the efforts which have been taken by state government or the center government? Eventually it should be taken, or it would be taken by the center till until. And let's see, the first thing is coordination for implementation. All right, in India, overall coordination of for implementation of SDGs is handled by National Institute for Transforming India. What is it? This was erstwhile planning commission, and now it is known as Niti Commission, Niti Ayog. In Hindi it is Niti Ayog, and Niti in English means policy. So Ayog means the policy commission, or we can say in English, but its name is in Niti, so we are only going to aware that. And this Niti Ayog with twin mandate, it has twin mandate. First is overseeing the adaptation and monitoring of the SDGs in the country, and second is promote competitive and cooperative federalism among states and UTs. So competitive federalism we already are aware about. Cooperative federalism means then when this state 1 is doing something with the state 2. This is cooperative. They are working together to achieve better of the all, right? Better good. For the better good they are working together. This is cooperative federalism. To do so, Niti Ayog launch L1, this is adopting and monitoring, we already done this. And third, we have promote competitiveness. Alright, so to do so, Niti Ayog launched the annual SDG India Index in 2018, which monitor progress of states and union territories on SDGs and localization of SDGs through 8 steps. There are 8 steps about that. Some example of successful localization from states, if we talk about, there is a first example about Andhra Pradesh, AP, which is Navran Thalu, a cluster of 9 flagship programs to reach out to vulnerable communities across sectors such as agriculture, health, education, housing, entrepreneurship, development and social protection. Second state here is Assam. And what can be seen in Assam? In Assam, there is Arunodai scheme for women, for which 1.7 million families get benefited by the direct bank transfer, DBT, get benefited by that. Third state, if we talk about, is Bihar. And in Bihar, we can see that Vikshit Bharat ke Saath Nishchay. So this was the scheme, Viksit Bharat ke Saath Nishchay, 7 Nishchay, or this 7 thing which are thinking by that. A package of programs which include scheme on inclusion, entrepreneurship, women reservation in jobs, provision of water, electricity, concurrent stress and toilets, higher education. These are the 7 things which are included in this 7 niches. Goa, next is our Goa, and in Goa we see that Dayanand Social Security Scheme, Dayanand Social Security Scheme for single woman. This is made for single woman, and this is widows, people with HIV, person with disabilities, or senior citizens and other vulnerable communities are also included in this. And there is also another scheme in Goa, that another one is Swayam Purna Mitras. What is Swayam Purna Mitras? Mitras means friends, and Swam means self, and Purna means sufficient, and making that. Alright, so Swam Sipra Mitra is for promoter of self-reliance, and these are selected government officials to improve development outreach and make village self-reliant or self-sufficient. Madhya Pradesh is the next state. MP, in MP, monthly collection of the disaggregated data on specific indicator related to vulnerable population groups, and notification of 50 aspirational blocks including 29 tribal blocks for special initiative. Next we have right now way forward. See, Basically, when we are talking about this localization whole progress, we already saw the issues, we saw what is the concept, and now it's time for the looking to the way forward or the solution. What can be more done in this? So, to achieve our pledge to leave no one behind has been significant threat in last few years due to global uncertainties, impact of pandemic. Food storage is also there, shortage is also there as a problem. Therefore, we need to localize SDGs through a holistic and persistent approach. How should be the approach? It should be holistic, very holistically we need to do that, and persistent. We need to be very persistent. There will be upcoming issues as well, but we need to be persistent about that. No, we thought about it and we are going to complete it. It doesn't matter how, but we are going to complete the thing whatever we thought right now. What is the way forward? Now first is the breakdown. How breakdown means break down the goals and implement to the subnational and local level for implementation in people centric manner. That is gender responsive, community responsive localization of the sustainable development goals. Second is the provide for proper monitoring and evaluation of SDGs. Here is the proper monitoring and evaluation. See, basically implementing them through effective partnership among all sustainable development goal partner. That is the important concept here, and the important proponent here is proper monitoring and evaluation, very important. Third is helping learning. How can someone help in learning? See, basically for helping in learning from the shared experience. What are the shared experience? That can be, again we can see it at the globally level. There are different countries which make these things, implemented the sustainable development goal programs into their countries, and they have some experiences while doing this. We can take from that. Secondly, we can share these experiences from the states itself. That would be cooperative federalism again. So we can help in learning by sharing the experiences to overcome the functional silos and adapt the global challenges through local actions. That is very important. Next we have is Unique Identification Authority of India, UDI. We most of us are aware about that. Recently, Comptroller and Auditor General CAG of India audit on functioning of the UDI presented in Parliament has found that the data stored in the Aadhaar data vault is of the institution is vulnerable. It is near under threat. About UDI, what is UDI? It's a statutory authority. Already know how it was made by a law, so it's a statutory. It has not found originally in the constitution. No amendment has been done for to make it into the constitution. So it's a statutory body, and it was established under this Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies, Benefits and Services Act 2016. So in short, it was done into the Aadhaar Act 2017 or 2016, which was implemented in 2017. Now it is under jurisdiction of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is MeitY. It is into the jurisdiction of MeitY. While working on that, it has established in 2009, and this ministry is established in 2009 and function as a part of then Planning Commission. It was also Planning Commission, working as Planning Commission. And also it has this UDI authority, or we know we all have Aadhaar card now. We are all aware about it. This has 12-digit unique identified number, which is unique to every individual who is having or who is resident of the country. As of 2022, UDI has issued almost 131.68 crore Aadhaar cards, and total population we have is around 137 crore. So most of the people are covered into the scheme already. Now if we talk about more, then we already understand what is UDI, we already understand what is nude. Like there are something more about this news. So first is the finding are part of the first performance review by the country's independent auditor of the UDI, which was carried out over a 4-year period between financial year 2015 to financial year 2019. After being launched in 2010, I already said this was launched in 2010 in the Planning Commission, and now it's under the MeitY, it's in Niti Aayog. So in Planning Commission, when it was launched in the 2010, the Aadhaar database reached about 1.29 billion records. It's a very high number. It's approximately 120 crore. okay, 129 crores of the people. And March 2021, it's considered as one of the largest biometric based identification system in the world, because most of the biometric there are, we already know that there are the pupils of our eye are also recorded here, the fingerprints of our both hands are recorded here. So this is a biometric data, and this biometric based identification system is the largest in the world. No any of the country have this kind of the largest data. And if we have so much data with us, that the security is also very important, because there are the people's private information you are having, and if you are not securing, then it is a question mark on their privacy. And article 21 of constitution is very importantly giving freedom to privacy, right, or right to privacy. Every individual has right to privacy, and that can't be even abridged by the state or the government, that can't be taken by that. So now key finding, what are the key findings in these CAG reports? We can see that first, no residency proof. What is this? When we are talking about Aadhaar card, we are aware that Aadhaar card is having on the back side of it has the residency proof, but Aadhaar number are only issued to the individual who are resided for a period of 182 days or more in the 12 months before the date of the application in the India itself. However, UDI has not prescribed specific proof document or process, and there is no system in place to confirm that the account holder or the Aadhaar holder in the country are resident as defined in the Aadhaar Act. They can give any data, all right, they can give any data or anywhere that they are residing here, but there is no proof, there is no police verification which are going and verifying, all right, this is the data, this is the certificate given by this individual, and he is telling the truth or the false or the wrong, all right. Second problem here is Bal Aadhaar card. Bal Aadhaar card is for children who are under the age of the 5, and these are made on based on their parents biometric information. There is no biometric information is taken by the Bal or the child, and it is against the basic tenet of Aadhaar card act and incurred a huge cost which required the uniqueness of biometric identification to be confirmed, which cannot usually be done at such a young age. So why there is a need for Bal Aadhaar card? That's do not need eventually. Data protection is a third highlighted thing by the thing, and we already talk about it, that how this lacks a data archiving policy, which is considerably a critical storage management best practice. And UDI manage one of the world largest biometric database, we already talk about, and there is something lackness in this. So that is again a very questionable thing, and this is a very big responsibility on the shoulder of the government. When they are doing something like that, they should be well aware about the repercussions, and they should analyze it thoroughly, that how they should go and work on that before the security of the data is very important for sure. Next is deduplication. We can see here deduplication. Though UDI has introduced its Irish based authentication, right, the pupil of your eye or the iris of your eye is also used for the enrollment in Aadhaar card, but instances like issuing of Aadhaar with the same biometric data is also have been seen. Faulty biometrics and documents to different recipients continue to indicate flaws in the deduplication processes. In 2019, UDI has to cancel more than 4.75 lakh Aadhaars for being duplicated. This was done by UDI itself, the managing body of the Aadhaar. Data matching is also a thing. All Aadhaar numbers were not here you can see all Aadhaar numbers were not paired with the documents relating to the personal information of their holders, and UDI was unable to determine the extent of mismatch even after 10 years. Let's move forward. Now we have faculty system. What is this faculty system? See, basically it shouldn't be here faculty system, it should be here faulty system. How it is in social system? UDI charged people for voluntary biometric updates when poor quality data was fed in during enrollment. 73% of biometric update were voluntarily updates, all right, and then there are no updates done mostly. Then is there infrastructure verification is also no verification of the infrastructure and technical support for requiring entities and authentication service agencies before their appointment in the ecosystem. Also, there is no system to analyze the factors leading to authentication error. Inadequate arrangement are also seen here, like UDI arrangement with development of post were insufficient to ensure delivery of Aadhaar letters to the correct addresses, as evidenced by the large number of Aadhaar letters returned as undelivered. And that is again a problem, because people are waiting for this, and if this is not done accurately, then I don't know how it can be done. Before going to tell about the recommendations suggested by the this CAG, I want to talk about some benefit as well. We already talked that already there are many issues, but there are seriously some benefits as well. Let's see what can be the benefits of it. See, benefits may we can see firstly that it is a school payment. It is help in school payments, that government can direct benefit transfer to the schools for the poor or needy children for their school payments. All right, this can be done by that. Secondly, merit scholarship and schemes can be directly transferred to the bank system, which are linked with the Aadhaar card to the meritorious students, and that can be done. Third, it is also helpful in the life and health insurance. We can see in Ayushman Bharat, that is also linked a service with Aadhaar card. So there, the Ayushman card is also made of the identification after the Aadhaar card. So this is helpful in that sphere as well. Fourth, we have wages and salary. Anyone can provide or government can give to them. Fifth is streamlined delivery of subsidies. The subsidies can be again directly transferred to the banks of the subsidy holders and with their identification. It is not like that you are giving to any account holder. We don't know who is using that, but eventually it is helpful in that sphere as well. Fifth is housing scheme. There are many housing schemes on knowing that this is your Aadhaar card, and now if you need some amount of money to make your house, if you are needy, and then that again on basis of your Aadhaar these details, it can be provided to you. Seventh is pension payments. Many states are using in that. And eighth number is antenatal care. After pregnancy, when a woman gave birth and then there is a care provided, we already know there are so many schemes in the central level as well. In central level, it is a scheme that Matru Poshan Yojana, where 6,000 of rupees are given to the mothers newly became mothers, and that are given again by the Aadhaar with the help of the Aadhaar direct bank transfer. And at the end, aided by own Asha workers, or already Asha workers are aided by that as well. Now moves forward. What are the recommendations suggested by the CAG? First is frame data policy. See, basically UDI needs to frame a suitable data archival policy to mitigate the risk of vulnerability to data protection, along with reducing the uses of data storage by weeding out duplicate data. Second, here is curb duplication. That is again very important. UDI needs to strengthen the automatic biometric identification system so that the generation of multiple duplicate Aadhaar card could be curbed at the initial stage itself. Also, UDI must explore alternate ways to capture the uniqueness of biometric identity for children below 5 years, especially since the Supreme Court has stated that no benefit will be denied to any child for want of Aadhaar documents. That is also a very important component in this. Third, here can we establish procedure. How can we establish procedure? The UDI should go beyond self-declaration and prescribe a procedure and require documentation other than self-declaration in order to confirm and authenticate the applicate's resident status. There should be avoidance about that. Now fifth is, or we can see here I wrote third, but we are going to see this also. Avoid complication. How avoid this complication can be avoided is this is very important. When we are talking about UTI, it is required to take proactive step to identify and fill the missing documents in UTI database to avoid any legal complication or inconvenience to holders of Aadhaar issued prior to 2016. If they are not updating it, that should be done as well. And next is improve success rate. How we can improve success rate? UTI needs to make effort to enhance the success rate of authentication transition by analyzing failure cases. It should be done very nicely, very appropriately, and very as early because this is going to make this is the main component behind this data fraud or the money fraud. Also we see daily coming in the news is because someone is using anyone else Aadhaar card or duplicate Aadhaar card which police cannot trace. Somehow that is the issue, and they do not have any uh, fear of state machinery. Next, move forward, and we are talking about complete verification. UDI should conduct through verification of the documents, infrastructure, and technological support claim to be available before onboarding the entities, requesting entities and authentication service agencies in the Aadhaar ecosystem. And at the last, we have this very important thing is regular review. The UDI should review charging of fees for voluntary updates of resident biometrics, as residents were not at fault for capture or poor quality of biometrics, because again this is not the fault of the residents. It's very important to understand that thing. And at the last, we can also use some Aadhaar data vault. There is need to ensure the implementation of Aadhaar data vault process and carry out periodic audit independently to enhance the security of Aadhaar card number storage data by user organization. If we talk about some other prevalent issues in Aadhaar, exception from this CAG reports and everything. Now first is unreliable demographic details. How? Basically, demographic details on Aadhaar card are often unverified and unreliable. We know that, particularly the person age, date of birth, and correcting age on Aadhaar card is often difficult without supporting documents such as birth certificate. That is again an issue. Second, here is a fraud-prone Aadhaar enabled system. We can also say it AEPS. Rampant abuse of this Aadhaar enabled payment system by corrupt business correspondents to extort money from unsuspected victims by persuading them. That is again a problematic thing which can be seen here. Consent. How consent is a problem? There is no information, no informal consent about the use of which the data will be subjected. That is again a question mark to the right to privacy. Next is violation of the rights. There is a possibility that leakage of biometric and demographic data can happen this either from the central Aadhaar repository or from a point of sale or an enrollment device, violates people right to privacy again. Next one is exit option. The absence of an exit option to get out of the UDI database. And the last one is lack of accountability. UDI lacks accountability to parliament. Alright, UDI, they should be done to the parliament because that is the body which made this law and which are responsible to making any law in the country. So UDI lacks this accountability and there is a failure in the system and someone suffers in the consequences. That is obviously heavy. This is UDI is not giving actually any reports to the parliament. We say how other agencies are responsible to the parliament, like finance commission. It has to give annual reports. CAG, it has to give annual reports to the president, which is going to lay these reports in the front of the parliament. So there should be some improvement for the accountability. And we are going to complete it for today till here, and we will going to make another video of this remaining news which are of polity session for April 2023. And for now, thank you so much for being here with me, and thank you very much and all the very best for your prelims preparation as well as means. These magazines or these news of all comprehensive news session is very important for both part of the exam. We are well aware about that is very important for the pre as well, very important for the mains. So all the best, and continue studying, continue move forwarding, and all the best.